prime creator of all that is. This seems to be the season of abundance in all things. How can one not believe, wonder, or doubt that the grand design provides us with everything we need or could want? The bright blooms of summer perennials, hydrangeas, huge bouquets of blues and pinks, colorful clusters of flowers hanging from laden branches of the crepe myrtle, where bevies of bees are buzzing, the distinctive sound of hummingbirds flying high, then diving to attract their mate for a spring birth. Bird songs fill the air as they drop from trees to ground to search for berries and dropping seeds. Soil dried by long, hot, sunny days and warm nights forces plants to conserve and look as though they wither, only to be renewed and refreshed by the morning's dew for yet another hot day in the sun. Soon the abundance of sun and leaves and shade will give way to a coolness and a shedding. Then comes the abundance of leaves to rake and fruits to harvest still. Peaches, plums, peppers, corn, tomatoes, cucumbers, apples, the harvest is on. A virtual cornucopia of abundance. We have been taught most, if not all of our lives, to believe there is scarcity. I recall from early in life the phrase, "There is enough for man's need, but not his greed." Such words of wisdom temper us, but also guide us to be grateful for what is given, what is grown, nurtured, and harvested. Gleaning is an example of such an abundance. Nature challenges us in countless ways, but it is also giving beyond compare. Let us every day take time to walk in nature, to drink in the beauty of life, to breathe in deeply the soft, fresh morning air, to let our skin soak in the warming sun, and above all, to be thankful for it all. Creator's limitless symphony of light and sound and color. Gratitude that we are, and that we are here to drink it all in at any moment of our choosing. Just wow. And so it is.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroom, and I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm here to talk about grand juries on Oregon and our sheriffs. A grand jury on Oregon, that's a complicated thing. It's also very important. Here's some things that have been decided by grand juries, and then set on to an Article 3 court. Let's take the Article 3 court that it goes to. The only court constitutionally where a man or woman with our progeny can go against the state and find remedy. It's all written down. Article 3's complex, but when you read it, if you just mark off what isn't you, what's left gives you the answer. So an Article 3 court is the only court where a man or a woman can find remedy against the state. Now, just recently, 2024, the Fifth Appellate Court and SCOTUS agreeing stated that all of these other courts, like SEC versus Jarcasi 603, US 109, that one, and all of those where agencies denied an Amendment 7 court, they made an error. They don't have that authority, but it's been going on for years and years. Things are changing. You have to take things into consideration that were not considered before. So they're saying that to have a proper court, you have to have Amendment 7. They specifically were talking about jury. However, Amendment 7 is about a whole lot more than jury. In courts in common law, in suits in common law, and every suit is found in common law, including criminal. When JDs and Esquires say, yeah, but Amendment 7's common law and civil only, that's a lie. And you can find out it's a lie by having Bouvier's 6th edition law dictionary, 2-volume 1856. Then you'll find out the true definitions of what our constitutions say. And it's not what you've been told. So we have an Article 3 court, and we have it on Oregon. And we went to all of the effort, and it's a bunch, to provide that court with all the bona fides required. And it's all signed, sealed, stamped, witnessed, proof of service, and published. And it's without rebuttal for 7 years. The US DOJ, the USMS, US Marshal Service, the US Marine Corps, the FBI, and a whole bunch more on the Fed side have acquiesced to us, the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, Article 1, Section 1, that outfit, is the provisional government on Oregon. We are jure, and we are removing de facto. And we're doing it through an Article 3 court using Amendment 7 in suits in common law. A jury will decide the facts, and a court will judge the law. Not a judge, but a court will judge the law. What's a court? A court is 3 tribunals and a clerk. It's nice when you have a marshal. So we have that court, and we've had it for 6 years on Oregon, and we use it. We use it when we get true bills from the grand jury. And we've gotten true bills from the grand jury for Kate Brown, Ron Wyden, Jeff Merkley, Suzanne Bonamici, all of them. And their issue was they broke their oath, they have no honor, and they're unfit for a position of trust. Now, our grand jury found sufficient evidence to pass that with a true bill to an Article 3, one Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction, which is Article 7 in Oregon's Constitution, with Amendment 7, Civilian Common Law Court of Record. That's where. So that court made that decision with that referral from our grand jury. And it has been unrebutted by Kate, Ron, Jeff, or Suzanne, or anybody else. And when you read the maxims of law, common law, you find out they can't do that and maintain their position. However, our sheriffs are not doing their job. And a grand jury found that our sheriffs were not complying with ORS 206 and DPSST and the county's requirements, human resources and recorder. We audited 9, not one of them passed the audit. We posted them all for 60 days, and all of them failed. They cannot comply. The closest one was Sam Elliott in Yamhill. He did a good job, but he didn't make it. He failed. They all failed. We only did 9, but none of the other 36 jumped up and said, hey, I got mine already. They all accepted failure from the grand jury and from the trial jury and from being posted. So ORS 206 says, among other things, that when the sheriff does not comply with 206 and occupies the office, the county commissioners must remove him. We have that going on Yamhill right now. And just like dominoes, Yamhill will tip into the rest of them. We'll do the 9 first and then the 27 later. But it has to happen. And another place the grand jury found that we should have a true bill on was 89 of 90 of the legislators in our legislature on Oregon, January 21st, 2021, did meet and break their oath by locking us out. Mike Neerman unlocked the door. We almost got in, but they had a bunch of Oregon State police there hitting people and spraying them with pepper spray and later arresting. Vile treatment while they're breaking their oath. So the grand jury took that information and made a true bill and sent it to our Article 3 court. I explained Article 3 to you, so you got that one. Now, one Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction. That's Article 7 in Oregon's Constitution. The original one that they cannot serve because they're serving, what is it? You cannot serve God and Mammon too. Well, they're serving Article 7 amended, which is illegal and illegitimate. It is de facto color of law and has been for 115 years. It is really hard to correct a problem that has been an issue, even if it's fraud, for 115 years. People don't comprehend. None of us today did what they did November 8th, 1910. Whatever their reasons and however, doesn't make any difference. Right now, today, what we have is 26 sheriffs, 89 legislators, Kate, Ron, Jeff, and Suzanne, all knowing, all have been found with the preponderance of evidence with our grand jury, and all of them have been tried with the true bill from the grand jury to our Article 3, one Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction, Article 7. Now you know Article 7 is original in our Constitution and it's common law. And that's in Amendment 7, in suits in common law. So let's explain this position that we're in. When you or I tell somebody in authority a truth that you have evidence of, it's not play pretend. You say to, like our sheriff, Article 7 amended is illegal and illegitimate, and here's the proof. And we tell them that repeatedly, over and over. And nowhere does proof appear. Excuse me. So what happens when a person in authority has evidence of a felony and does nothing? It's called misprision of felony. Now, I know for a fact that the sheriffs were advised of this fraud in 2017 and many times since. And they were tried by our Article 3 court in front of the Marion County Courthouse. It's all recorded and published. You can find it on our website, www.orsja.org. So all of that happened. And all of these people know exactly the felony that happened. And they did nothing. So there's a preponderance of evidence for misprision of felony. Misprision of felony leads to accessory after the fact. When you know something and don't do something, you're an accessory to it. If you know of treason and do nothing about the treason, then you commit treason. It's all written down. None of this is opinion. So then you become an accessory after the fact. An accessory after the fact for a person of authority, that becomes misprision of treason. They know of a treasonous act because they did it. And if they do nothing about misprision of treason, it becomes treason. Now, what's the timetable on that? How long are you allowed to know that Article 7 amended in our Constitution on Oregon is bogus, illegitimate, de facto since 1910? Well, our sheriffs have known since 2017. The number one executive on each county has known of this. So that's misprision of felony for sure. Since 2017, when they found out. Someplace along the line, that morphs into accessory after the fact. They know, and they're still supplying bailiffs and jailers to the Article 7 amended judiciary on Oregon that acquiesce to having no oath, no honor twice to our grand jury and to our Article 3 Amendment 7 Civilian Common Law Court of Record. The last time was November 2022. And their counsel, Lisa Norris Lampy, knows of this. And they know of it. And still they persist. They're members of the bar, the Oregon State Bar, which is illegal and illegitimate. The whole thing has been progressing for 115 years. This has got to be cleaned up. There's no way that the de facto can persist against the jure when we're here and we know and we're no longer deceived and we're not going to accept your deception. One of the next steps will be the Yamhill County Commissioners. They've been notified we're coming. They know why. They've already acquiesced to and acknowledged that they know their sheriff, Sam Elliott, is not in compliance with ORS 206 and the other requirements, such as oath and bondability to the laws of nature and nature's God, those kinds of things. So grand juries lead to presentments to the de facto. And 38 prosecutors on Oregon have been notified multiple times of the wrongdoers, and the 38 prosecutors do nothing. That's misprision of felony. It's not prosecutorial discretion. A grand jury told them It wasn't Fred down the street that knocked on the door and said, "Hey, those guys over there are doing bad." No, it's not that. It was an Oregon grand jury that supplied them with presentments from the grand jury, and they did nothing. And they were notified in 2022. How long does it take for misprision of felony to happen to the prosecutors? Good question. We'll have to look into that. They may have already slipped into, yeah, they probably did. Accessory after the fact. Are they guilty? It's not what you think. It's what you can actually find evidence of and prove. And what we have done all the way with every step along the way completely covered. That's why we're still standing. When you read the maxims, the last one standing wins the day. And there's no one standing against us. They run and they hide. Judges have abandoned their seats or thrown us out of the court. They receive the paper and go crazy. They do completely silly things. And I yield.
This is Kim, one of the people on Oregon. Where are our sheriffs? For the last several months, we have posted and made available what we worked on as a proper oath for the persons in our governance. Sheriffs are our first effort at insisting on a proper oath, for it is the sheriffs who are here in their county position to protect and defend the people. Protect them from what, some might say? From ticketing or sending people to an illegitimate amended Article 7 court that should not be. From governance overreach and taxation, they should assist seniors in the prevention of their eviction, from their loss of equity, their forever home, and all that they possess. Our Article 3, Amendment 7 Civilian Common Law Court of Record has made numerous visits and relentless communications to our county sheriffs on Oregon to offer a remedy from victimization of the people. How, you might ask? It is like a shift in the mind. It is the recognition of one's allegiance to life and to that which is God given, rather than criminalizing living God made beings for a dead corporate entity. Our sheriffs are our first protection against governance overreach. The significance of elected government officials taking a proper oath to the original jurisdiction constitution circa 1859 is a tremendous recognition. The oath is a promise to our God self, to our Creator God, and to people, not persons. Such a dejuration, taking a solemn oath, is needed for there to be remedy in our authoritative system of governance. Once a sheriff can make the shift, they can see themselves among the people, rather than a corporate entity meant to enforce our compliance to the bidding of the state. This cognition promises to be a release of tension, greater freedom, and cooperation. Let it be so. I yield.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. Then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, shot him 3 more times.